way to start your morning, how to restart your computer and refresh it.
Well, I've been up. I've been up for a while already. I just
Yeah.
sent my daughter to daycare for a bit and take care of a couple of things. And I just made my coffee too. So at the same time, it's hot smoking coffee.
Oh, that's perfect.
What's on your schedule today besides this?
I have a lot of content creation to do, cutting videos. I'm actually doing learning programming, so I have a few courses to do.
Nice.
And I'm also learning how to do digital art. So I've trying to do that. I'm doing course as well, so I'm gonna do a little bit of both. And then I don't know. There's a few things I need to do as well. See, like check my previous videos, upload on my social media. So I have a full day of just working on my stuff.
Well, it's a perfect segue into Sophie, Thunder Struck Squirrel, content creator, streamer, podcaster, YouTuber, the whole nine yards. And so
Yeah.
it's perfect because you get to talk about yourself a bit. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, I love gaming, so that was a perfect way to get into streaming. That's why I started doing that during the pandemic. So I'm streaming on Twitch, and then I'm creating a lot of content for YouTube. I have a podcast, which I've paused for a little bit because but I want to do something else with the podcast entirely that I was doing. I want to refocus it. But yeah, I'm learning digital art, and I love programming. So I'm doing learning programming to do my own video game someday.
That's
So
amazing.
that's what I'm.
Yeah, that's super awesome. I don't know the first thing about programming. I've done the little working education, they do these like little programming workshops with kids and stuff, and it's like very simple based stuff and nothing with coding. I know nothing about coding. In terms of like content creation, because I remember, I mean, you had your podcast, you had your episodes going, and then I realized, like you said, you paused it, and it's one of those things that like I'll do my podcast, and I took a pause, and then I had my forced pause that I had to take because of the health issues and stuff like that. But it's one of those things that you kind of have to learn a skill, and once you learn that skill, you got to learn another skill, and there's always learning going forward. And I imagine that's the same thing with other content creation, like with YouTube and things like that. So tell us what you're doing with YouTube.
So basically, usually I try to take clips of my Twitch or fun moments, or sometimes I download my entire stream and then I make videos for YouTube off of that. Actually, before they got deleted, I don't know why they got deleted off YouTube, but I had like a whole show about uh, giving ratings on video games. So I was doing giving my opinion on games and what was good, what was not good about it, and so that ran. I had like 20 episodes, and then randomly last December, YouTube deleted like half of my videos of my YouTube for no reason. I don't know why.
Yeah,
I couldn't get an answer.
I noticed that they're all gone, and I was like, maybe she deleted them on purpose.
No, that wasn't. That was YouTube, and I was like, ugh, I couldn't get an answer from them either. So, like, as to why they were deleted.
Interesting. Was there any copyright infringement, maybe from background music from video games?
No, I didn't have any background music. It was just me talking.
Wow. I don't know. Maybe they archived it by accident.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, I remember you had all kinds of videos on there, and some of your videos, even your video YouTube shorts that you have now, like YouTube shorts are great for discovery and things like that. So you're getting views, you're getting over 1,000 views on a bunch of your videos. So it's unfortunate that they did that and deleted your videos because you do have over 230 subscribers and you're trying to build your content. And it's the same thing with Twitch streaming and content creation. You kind of have to build yourself up everywhere at the same time to kind of get that momentum. Yesterday, I first time I well, maybe not the first time, but really the first time that I tried to make a TikTok video using some content from my Twitch stream. Um, I'm super newbie at it, so I don't know. There's certain things I could do, and then outside of that, I'm a little bit I'm a little bit lost. So anything you learn, and you're going to do programming, all this stuff, I can't wait for you to share with me so
Yeah,
I
I
can
will
learn something.
definitely I will share
Um,
with you. But that's the hard thing about content creation or streaming is that you have so much to learn to for having a bare minimum good stream or a good content. So it can be overwhelming because there's so many things. And one thing I've learned is that you cannot just stream on Twitch. Like you have to put your content elsewhere because a lot of time they'll find you on YouTube, they'll find you like TikTok, they'll find you like wherever. Like there are so many other places that they can find you, or social media like Twitter, Instagram. And so it's a lot to do at first, and especially when you're bigger, obviously your content gets seen more, but like when you're smaller, you have to really grind and show your content to the world, I guess.
yesterday I talked with a streamer, content creator, and I will introduce you to her afterwards in terms of her Discord and all that stuff. And then you could kind of maybe go analyze and look at what she does. She went from zero followers on Twitch to, I don't know, maybe 1,500 now on Twitch. And she has 29,000 followers on TikTok.
That I
And she,
need to get on TikTok. Apparently, it's
She started with nothing. So when I was off during the year, I was sitting around, I wasn't doing anything. And she would message me every so often and say, Mike, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this? And I would give my 2 cents on, you know, how Twitter works, how engagement works, how this works. And I said, I really think you should probably do this. I vaguely remember what I said to her. I honestly don't even remember most of the year, but I remember saying, you know, community engagement is really important for your streaming
yes,
and being everywhere, whatever you can do. Outside of that, all the technical skills, like I said, those are things I don't have, and you have to try to learn on your own, right? So, okay. Fast forward, we had a talk yesterday, similar to this one. We was talking about content creation and stuff, and I said, and I checked out all their stuff, and I've been following, and I said, you went from zero to 1,500 on Twitch, and you got 29,000 people on TikTok. Like what's the secret? And she was saying how community engagement has been super important for her. Like people are coming because they want to see her, and she doesn't show her face on Twitch and stuff, but she has an avatar that acts in her place, and there's like an anime avatar and all that stuff, but it's her voice and it's all this. And she says community engagement is the biggest thing, and she made improvements on the stream as she went forward. Just PC gaming primarily and things like that. And then she made a Discord, she brought all these people in, and then she said TikTok. TikTok is so big for video game discovery, for Twitch, for streaming, for Kick, for YouTube, that without it, probably she wouldn't have gotten that far. But I'm like, well, now you're there. And what's the next step? Well, the next step is, like she was saying, learn new skills, develop new content. And I was saying, well, what about your YouTube? She's like, my primary concern is TikTok and then everything else, because that brings people in, because Twitch has terrible discovery, right?
yeah, sure.
You stream, you get 10 people, you can get 0 people, you can get like people don't just randomly walk into your
Yes, I
channel.
think Twitch, unless you're really big, you don't get put on the front page a lot. You don't get as much discovery as if you're even if you have like 2 or 3 thousand people like followers. It's not enough for Twitch. You're not like big. You have to have like millions of followers almost.
I know a lot.
Whereas
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think YouTube is better for that, so that's why I start. I know TikTok sounds really good for a gamer, but even YouTube I think is better at discovery than Twitch. Like you can put a short and people will come to your channel and really watch your video. So that's been like very big too for my Twitch. Like
Yeah, that
I've gotten so many people from YouTube that came to my stream
yeah,
afterwards.
yeah, people are saying YouTube is better for discovery as well. So, um, Interesting. I wonder if during content creation, like you making your videos and your shorts for YouTube, can those be used on TikTok or vice versa? Can you just use the same one and on both
Um,
platforms?
I can use it on YouTube. I don't have TikTok, so I don't. I think you can just use the same one if you own the content. I think you can just use it anywhere you want.
So basically, yeah, let's say you signed up for a TikTok account, well, whatever work you're doing for your YouTube channel and your shorts, you can display on your TikTok, and that's two birds with one stone type of thing. So
Yes.
interesting. I haven't been able to really play around with the podcast side of stuff for YouTube because time constraints. It's really difficult to do content creation, like like it's literally a full-time job. But like our podcast gets shipped over to YouTube now, which is just like it's there. Like it's not really where the downloads happen, but it's there. So people, if they find it, maybe they'll listen to the podcast somewhere. But and it's not video, so it's mostly just the audio component. But I have a very difficult time trying to figure out how to turn the audio into shorts that's attractive, and I don't think it is. So I just don't play around with it. The other thing is you're on Twitter, and I don't know if you know this, but ever since our friend took over Twitter, engagement's really low on Twitter.
Oh, I've noticed. Yes, engagement is not even half of what it used to be for
At
me,
Yeah,
and I've
and
noticed for other people too.
yeah, it sucks, and I'm like I'm climbing up in followers, and I still have less engagement than I did 2 years ago. I had more engagement 2 years ago, which is really strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. So in terms of content skills and programming, all that stuff, what are some of your long-term goals? Are you going to try to use different platforms? Are you going to try to update your streaming setting, or what are your plans?
Well, for programming, mainly I've started. There are two things that I've started doing. First, full stack developer, which is like making website from scratch, like the whole website, front end and back end. So I want to make my own website, and I try to use WordPress. And every time that I was ready to actually share it, and there was always something. WordPress would always mess up my something. Um, like for example, when I tried to modify it, the modifying page wasn't the same as the actual page. I don't know what they did, but it was always something. So I was like, I want to do like my own website and be in control of that instead of relying on like a third party website. And I'm learning program. I'm also learning. I love video games, so I'm learning C# to I want to make a video game. That's been a goal of mine for years. So like I'm gonna learn it, and I'm also learning how to use Unity. Not sure if you know that. It's a software that companies use to make video games. So I'm trying to use learning the programming and then using that software to make my own video game.
Very
And
interesting.
one of my goal would be either like make my own video game, or like I would also like to be hired like for a big company or to work for them too. That would be really great.
Oh yeah, get your foot in the door, work for a company that you pretty much love their stuff, and then you get in there and work. It's like people say I'm working at Google, or I'm working at one of the big companies there, and they get one of those super break rooms where you can get free sandwiches if they
Yeah.
still offer those. But yeah, that would be amazing. But and then put all these skills together. I mean, it's a big learning curve, and it's a lot of time studying. So you must have packed days.
I really have, and some days it's a struggle because I feel I have so much to do, and then I get overwhelmed, and then like there are times where I don't get anything done at all because I'm so overwhelmed by everything. But it's just usually I try to do. Like, I'm gonna do this little thing. I'm gonna start with that. Do 10 minutes of this programming, and then that usually sets me in, and I can actually finish everything I need to do. But some days are tough. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Um, what I wanted to mention too was going back to the discovery aspect of things at TikTok. Not only did I speak to a content creator, but I also spoke to an author recently, and she has a book coming out, and it's an editing process. And she has somebody looking at it, and she has a company for does editing services. And lo and behold, she has 9,000 followers on TikTok and a bunch of followers, I think a couple thousand on Instagram. And she said the same thing. She says the primary source of the primary area of where people come and discover her are TikTok and Instagram, mostly TikTok. And people come over and she gets clients from there for editing services. So not only is it great for video games, it's great for other stuff too. So I'm not trying to plant a seed in your head, but it's fresh in my mind from yesterday and
Yeah,
the last 2 days.
I think it's great for artists in general, not just streamers. But if you are an artist, a singer, painter, writer, I think it's just good to show your skill, to show what you have to offer.
Yeah, I'm going to try to clip more of my Twitch streaming stuff from that and see what happens with it. Maybe people come to the channel. Actually, in the last couple of days, including last night, because I streamed last night, I think I gained like additional 20 people following me on Twitch out of nowhere, which was really strange. So, I kind of wonder if that TikTok thing already made a difference in some strange fashion. Uh, let's see. And in terms of that, a lot of people have preferences for games and stuff like that. So what are some of your preferences for video games, and what are you currently playing?
My preference is usually RPGs and horror games. Though I have to say RPGs, I try to pick them like not too big. Like Assassin's Creed game are much too big. It's like 150 hours to play, and usually viewers get lost around that. They don't like they prefer. I've noticed they prefer shorter games. Like if I play like 10 a game that has like 10, 15, 20 hours, they prefer that. I've noticed. Right now, I'm playing mix of Dead Space, the remaster, Dead
Mm-hmm.
by Daylight, and Resident Evil 2.
Hmm. It's like Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2, the remake.
Yeah, no, the original.
Original.
Yeah,
Oh, Resident Evil 2. I remember when a friend of mine picked up Resident Evil 2. Well, some of those games are really scary, but
yeah.
even Dead by Daylight. Have you played the Jason Voorhees one that they had come out with on the PlayStation?
No,
It,
Friday the 13th. Yeah,
yeah, Friday the 13th.
I've played a little bit with friends, but like no one's playing it, and I found that I don't know if Friday the 13th is the same thing. But I don't want to try it because I've noticed that Dead by Daylight when I play with strangers as opposed to like friends, it gets kind of weird sometimes.
Yeah.
It can get kind of toxic.
Playing sports games, but those, let's say Call of Duty and the NHL, you get toxic people all the time. So those that turns me off from games. Like if you're gonna get that, I'd rather not play at all. So,
Yeah,
is there a mute button? You can just mute anybody, you know?
yeah. You can block people on Dead by Daylight. But
Yeah.
even like Friday the 13th, I've noticed that no one's really playing it. Even my friends used to play it before, and I've played a few games with them. But then now they switched to only playing Dead by Daylight. So
Well, I think a lot of those games have a shelf life, right? They you people play them for a long time until they get bored, and then a new one comes out or a different in the same genre, and then they jump ship. A little bit different from, let's say, RTS games like Warcraft and Starcraft, where people just constant like Warcraft. Like I've been casting those games for some tournaments and leagues. Like that game's 20 years old and people are still playing it. You know, they just because you could always get better and better and better and better. Whereas I
yeah.
think those have there's like like a timer on those games. Like they're, you know, they lose interest pretty fast.
Well, I don't know, but I think that Dead by Daylight so far is doing pretty well. It's already 7 years old. So that's like a big I think that's a long time for a video game to be out, and people are still playing it a lot. So I don't know how where it'll be in 20 years. Like the games you mentioned, they've been out way longer. But I think people are still enjoying it, and there's always new players, and there's always new packs coming out with new killers, new people. So it's all. I think for now it's fresh. It's still interesting.
Well, here's just to give some numbers. Oh, I'm bleeding. Look at that. Dead by Daylight has 12.9 million followers on Twitch, and currently, as we speak, there's 15,000 viewers. So for a 7-year-old game, it's doing pretty damn good.
Yeah. Usually, even like a game that's been out for a year doesn't get these numbers.
Exactly. So it's kind of built like I guess, a community or a cult following.
Yes,
And
it's like Five Nights at Freddy's too. It's not a big game, but people are still playing it since 2014. And
yeah. Okay, well there we go. Usually we do plugs for everybody's socials, but we mentioned that you're on YouTube, Thunder Struck Squirrel on YouTube, and same Thunder Struck Squirrel on Instagram, Thunder Struck Squirrel on Twitter, but at Squirrel Struck. So if anybody looks you up, but it's at Thunder Struck Squirrel on Instagram. And I normally, well, we don't give out your PlayStation name, but usually give everybody the final words for the end of the podcast. So if you have any advice for people who are doing content creation or just starting out, what would you tell them?
well, the one thing I'll say is like if you guys asked me if I was gonna do anything like public speaking like 2 years ago, I would have told you were crazy because I'm shy and I don't talk a lot. I'm introverted, and I know like that a lot of people they don't want to do it because they think, oh, I'm shy, I don't have anything to say, and I'll tell them that's not true. If there's certainly something that you're passionate about, and I would advise them to share it because I've been in their shoes. I've been shy and introverted, and I'm doing it for over 2 years now. I have a podcast, I have YouTube, I have Twitch, I've built community, I've made a lot of friends, and I'm still doing it. And if I can, you can too. And the hardest part is getting started, I will say. Like, I almost didn't. It was a friend who pushed me, and I'm glad he did. So, if you're hesitating, do not anymore. Just go for it and follow your dreams. Don't think that because you're shy, no one will listen to you.
Awesome advice. Get started, stay strong, and be consistent. And I think really, really early on, a week, a month, a year is still early on. 2 years, 3 years, you have to be consistent with whatever you're doing, whether you're studying to be programming, doing website, doing content creation. You just got to kind of stick with it because it's like podcasting. Most podcasts, I think, what's the stat? It's probably like 99% of podcasts like drop off, and 90% drop off in the first 7 days or after the first episode. And then the rest drop off at the 7th episode, the 21st episode, and then never reach 100 episodes. And then all the ones that go past that are the 1% of podcasts that exist. So that's the key, is consistency, and have faith in yourself. And I just want to tell you, when you do get back into podcasting and relaunch, make sure you tag me so I can share with everybody. And,
thank you. I will. And I finally found my direction, so it should be soonish.
Okay. Excellent. We're not telling anybody. It's a secret. It's a surprise.
Okay, yes.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for coming on, and we'll be in touch.
Definitely.
Thank you, everyone, for being a part of the Mr. Mike Show. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to your platform of choice. For more updates and exclusive content, visit our website at www.mrmikemtl.com. Stay relaxed, stay inspired, and we'll see you next time.